How's it going, friends? Today we're going to be talking all about negative harmony. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to let you know I'm using a bit of a different setup today. So I want you to let me know if you prefer this setup or you enjoy this setup for my videos, as it requires way less editing for me. So if I continue doing it this way, then I'll be able to pump out way more content for you. So let me know if you enjoy it, but let's get straight into the lesson. And we are going to start with this first slide. So, negative harmony. So we can use negative harmony to put some sort of very unexpected chords into our progressions. Oh, I've just noticed the typo there. Never mind. Then you can use the same method to write melodies as well. So there's going to be lots of examples today, so you can kind of see how it works. And a problem that I see online is people explain negative harmony in a way that's so complicated, and it really isn't that complicated. So I'm going to make it very, very simple for you. So let's get straight into what negative harmony is. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the notes in our key. We're going to be working in the key of C today, and we are going to invert those notes of our key on an axis. Now that sounds complicated, but it's really not, okay? And you'll see why in a second. But when we do this, it creates the negative version of our scale. So we'd have the negative C major scale. The axis is going to be on the circle of fifths. So let's take a look at how we do this. So here is our circle of fifths. It's a nice colourful circle of fifths diagram that I created. All right, so between C and G is where we're going to put our axis, okay? So between C, which is the root note or the tonic of our key, and G, which is the fifth, okay? Let's take a look at what happens when we do that. Okay, see that white line running through the middle between the C and the G, okay? So that essentially is going to create a mirror, and we're going to mirror every note on that axis. So let's take a look at how that is done. There we go, okay? So now as you can see, the C becomes G, and if we use the notes in our key, if you take a look at D, D now becomes F, then E, E becomes D sharp or E flat, we're going to call it E flat, and then F becomes D, G becomes C, what's after G? A becomes B flat, and B becomes A flat. All right, so those are the notes that get changed when we do negative harmony. Okay, so whenever we're playing a C, it gets changed to a G. Whenever we're playing an F, it gets changed to a D. Whenever we're playing an A, it gets changed to a B flat, and so on and so forth. So let's do this with the chords in the key of C. Excuse me. So if we have a C major chord, we have the notes C, E, and G. Okay, the C gets changed to a G, the E gets changed to an E flat, the G gets changed to a C. That creates all the notes in the chord C minor. And you can do this with all the other chords. So D minor then becomes B flat major, E minor becomes A flat major, F major becomes G minor, G major becomes F minor, A minor becomes E flat major, and B diminished becomes D diminished. Okay, so that is what happens when we apply negative harmony to our chords in our key. Now, the real interesting thing about negative harmony is it works because of stable and active notes in our key. Okay, so stable notes create a sort of sense of resolution in our key. Okay, and active notes create tension. So, for example, in the key of C, the stable notes are C, E, and G. So that's the basic C major triad. Okay, so let's take a listen to the key of C, and then we'll play the stable notes. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Okay. Now, stable notes are C, E, and G. They're stable because they create a sense of resolution. They sound sort of at home and resolved, okay? Then the active notes, they create a little bit of tension, okay? They want to go somewhere. So we've got the notes D, which wants to go to either E or to C. Then we've got F, which wants to go to E, which E is a stable note. Then we've got A, which wants to go to G, which is a stable note. And then we've got B, which wants to go up to C. And C is the stable note that it wants to go up to. So that is how stable and active notes work. So how does this apply to negative harmony? Well, the stable notes in C major, when we turn them into their negative counterparts, they turn out to be the stable notes in C minor. Oh, I've noticed another typo. OT instead of out. I need to make sure I proofread this stuff before I upload it. Never mind. So basically what this does is it turns this, as I said, turns the C major stable and active notes into the C minor stable and active notes. This gives the negative notes and chords the same amount of pull and tension going towards that tonic C. So as you can see, C becomes G. They're both what you call stable notes. D becomes F. So D and F are both active notes. E and E flat are both stable notes. F and D are both active notes. G and C are both stable notes. A and B flat are active notes. B and A flat are active notes. All right. The notes in the negative C major scale, which is what we get when we turn the major scale into the negative counterparts, are also the notes in C minor. I don't think I mentioned that fully. So it's basically like we're switching between C major and C minor. All right. So let's take a look at example number 1. Okay. So our starting chord progression is C, D minor, G, and C. And we're going to turn the D minor and G into their negative counterparts. And as we said earlier, D minor gets turned into a B flat chord and G gets turned into an F minor chord. So now the chord progression is C, B flat, F minor, and C. So let's take a listen to how that sounds with some tab as well. All right, so as you can see, the first 4 bars are our basic chord progression, and then the last 4 bars are the modified chord progression using negative harmony. Okay, so let's take a listen to that. Okay, basic chord progression. Now the negative harmony chord progression. There you go. It really spices things up quite a bit. And as you can hear, those 2 chords in the middle of the chord progression that get changed still sort of they tell the same sort of story, but they just kind of sound a little bit cooler than just the basic chords in the key of C. All right. So let's move on to example number 2. So example number 2. Okay, we're going to use a 1-6-4-5 in the key of C. So that's C major 7, A minor 7, F major 7, G7, and then back to C major 7. What we're going to do is we're going to change the F major 7 into its negative counterpart. And when we change all the notes, we get an E flat major 7. Okay, then the G7 becomes a D minor 7 flat 5 when we change all the notes. Okay, you can try and work that out for yourself if you like, but believe me, it's right. So the final chord progression is C major 7, A minor 7, and then we've got the E flat major 7 and D minor 7 flat 5, which we've changed with negative harmony, and then we've got C major 7, which is the final chord. So why don't we take a listen to that chord progression? So here's the example without negative harmony. Cool. Now let's take a listen to the modified chord progression. And what I've done here is I've actually added some cool embellishments and stuff to the chord progression just to make it sound a little bit more exciting and a bit more neo-soul, because obviously I do a lot of neo-soul on this channel. Okay, so let's take a listen. Hopefully I can get it first try. No, I can't. All right, there you go. That's what it sounds like with negative harmony applied. So we're on to our final example, and our final example involves melody. So we're going to take a look at how to add melody into our progressions, okay? Or add melody into our kind of riffs and progressions, but then using negative harmony, this method. So what we're going to do is we're going to play over that same chord progression with a basic C major melody. So we're playing that 1-6-4-5, which is C major 7, A minor 7, F major 7, G7. And we're going to play a basic C major melody. So let's take a listen to how that sounds first. So actually, I'm going to play the chords as a backing track, and I'm going to play the solo over on top live for you. Very nice and cute melody there. Oh, we don't want that playing again. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change the same chords that we did before. Okay, so as I said earlier, the F major 7 becomes E flat major 7. The G7 becomes D minor 7 flat 5. Okay, now over those two chords, we're going to have to change the melody using negative harmony. Okay, so let's take a look and examine that melody. So over F major 7, that F major 7 gets changed to E flat major 7. And the first note in bar number 3 is a G. That G gets turned into C. Then the next note is A. That A gets turned into a B flat. Then the next note is C. The C gets turned into a G. And then the final note in that bar is D, which gets turned into F. Now let's take a look at that G7 bar number 4. Bar number 4, obviously the G7 gets turned into a D minor 7 flat 5, or a D half diminished, if you want to call it that. That E, we turn into an E flat, okay? Then the D, which is the second note, gets turned into an F. The C gets turned into a G. And the A gets turned into a B flat, I believe. A gets turned into a B flat. Yes, it does. Cool. So then we finish on C major, and we're back to the C major scale, and we're using a C there to finish off. We're not changing anything there. Okay, so let's take a look at how that looks with the tab. There you go. All right, so let's take a listen to how the progression sounds all together. Awesome. So that is how you use negative harmony in your playing. So I want you to come up with some really awesome ideas using this. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, let me know if you enjoyed this sort of format of video, as opposed to kind of like the other style of video where I kind of edit it quite heavily. I feel like with this type of video, I can just do the editing as I'm recording, which makes things a lot easier. Okay, now if you enjoy the video and you want to create more chord progressions like the ones you heard today, then check out my book Chord Charisma 2.0. You can grab the first 2 chapters down in the description for free. Those first 2 chapters are going to show you how to write a basic chord progression, turn that into something a bit more exciting with the use of 9ths, 11ths, 13ths, those kind of extensions and other embellishments too. The rest of the book is filled with everything I know about chord progressions. Literally the best chord progression book for guitarists out there. You will not be disappointed by it. You're going to learn so much if you get the book, and I can guarantee that. Okay, so with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Click like, subscribe, all that business if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.